¿Cómo estás? Muy bien. Accommodate el menú. I think it's like, wait, just give me the menu or something.
Oh, yeah.
El menu? El menu? The menu?
Sure. El menu.
I don't know. But welcome. Or in Taishanese, Jiaosan.
Johnson.
This is like good morning. But it's not morning, it's actually afternoon. Or we could do sick phone.
Sick phone.
Or sick phone. It's time to eat. Anyways. Yeah, so thanks for joining us again for episode 13 or 19, I mean. And we're just kind of shooting the breeze today. Just want to talk a little bit about the new kind of Trump stock that's out there with True Social.
Is it new?
It went on the Nasdaq, I think March 21st or March 25th of 2024. So it is,
okay.
It is new. Yeah,
Interesting.
it's new, and it actually we'll probably be looking up stuff in between when we're talking, or at the same time we're talking.
So just IPO'd. I didn't realize it just IPO'd.
Yeah, it just IPO'd not too long ago. Actually, let's go to TradingView. Because I actually have a short position on this stock. They actually they had a SPAC, I guess, on the stock on the Nasdaq, which is it stands for Special Acquisition Company, and so that has been, I think, since like 2020, 2021, whatever. It's been on the market, but then they merged with Trump's company, did a merger, and that allowed Trump to like bypass a lot of the filings and regulations that go along with getting listed on the stock market.
Interesting. What? So like Trump's like brand name?
Yeah. So basically, there's True Social, which is their only product, and True Social is like the is a company, and then the parent company is Trump Media and Technology Group. So Trump Media and Technology Group was a private company that then merged with it's called Digital World. I should know this, but Digital World Acquisition Corp. So this is the company it's a special purpose acquisition company, and it was already listed on the Nasdaq, and then Trump Media and Technology Group actually did a merger with it, and then they changed the actual ticker, which was DWAC, is DWAC. That was the ticker symbol that was listed on the Nasdaq for Digital World Acquisition Corp. Then they changed it to DJT, excuse me, which is Donald Trump or Donald J. Trump, which is his initials. And then that started trading underneath that ticker, and after the merger, it was basically that's their only product. So I don't understand special acquisition companies a whole lot, but that's essentially what I was saying earlier. Is like, it allows companies to merge with them and allows for a little bit faster things to be sped up to where they can actually be listed on the stock market. They will have to go through as much regulation and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I've been looking at. Let me actually pull it up here in TradingView. Let's see. Trump Media and Technology. Let's look at the chart. So that's where we're at here. So this is all DWAC. This is all, well, you guys can't see it on there, but I'm kind of talking to Jacob. But so like basically, let me actually log in here. Give you guys some dates and stuff. Wow. Let's see. Let's put this at like 3 months. Or let's actually do 1 year. Or let's do all time. That should be. Why is this not being responsive? So this was so a little bit. So it went public about March 25th, around there. Just talking to Jacob. But prior to that, it was like the whack. Yeah, prior to the merger, was like trading at like around 30 $40 roughly, and then it kind of tanked a little bit around, I guess this would be the 19th of March. Tanked a little bit, went down to like, let's see, $32 or so, and then as time went on and the merger became clearer and clearer, it started to spike, and then right at the 25th of March 2024, after it became public and that the merger had taken place, it just spiked hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
And
which is typical for
IPOs.
IPOs.
Yep. So and then it went all the way up to $7 or $8, almost $80, $79.38.
A lot of
on the 26th.
What you'd say is a lot of dumb money.
A lot of dumb money. So it went out there, and then I didn't really hear about it until it was, about there or so, which would be about $50. And I started shorting it right when it was about like 48, which was around the 24th. And I've been kind of shorting it and getting in, since then, and it's been continuing to fall. And the kind of my thesis, and obviously I'm new to options trading and new to investing and new to all this stuff, but my kind of thesis behind it is that it's helpful to look at. Truth Social is their only product. So it's really beneficial if you're looking at a company, trying to figure out where the price point or the value of the company is. If we're looking at, from Warren Buffett's lens, the intrinsic value of the company is, then you should be comparing apples to apples. You should be comparing companies in the same industry. And so that's what I was trying to figure out. Okay, how can I compare Truth Social to other apples in the industry, right? Other companies that were basically the same. So, if you look at like Facebook, X, those are companies that are also social media companies. But if you really think about it, they've been around for a long time. And Twitter, I think it's been around since like prior to 2008, I want to say. Mm-hmm. Facebook's been around for a long time, probably around the same timeline. But if you look at to me, the closest social media company that comes to mind is actually Rumble. So, yeah. So that's more of an apples to apples comparison.
Which I'd be interested in looking at Rumble more, because a lot of podcasters, a lot of them, especially even like anyone that has a YouTube channel and stuff like that, I hear a lot of people going to Rumble because YouTube can get demonetized, and like one of my high school teachers, he's got a big biology channel, and it got hacked. It was an interesting hack. They weren't able to get full access to it, but they all of a sudden had a live stream to try to, because I guess it doesn't matter what they were trying to do. Anyways, he got hacked, and the videos and stuff were on. He shut them down as quickly as he could, whatever. But YouTube ended up demonetizing him, and basically, in his I don't know, like years of work that he had just all of a sudden gone, whatever. And he had like 1 million. I don't know how many. It was like 100-something thousand subscribers. I could be wrong on that, but basically, that's a small fish like in a big pond, pretty with YouTube.
Yeah.
Comparatively.
Yeah.
Luckily, he actually knows like a YouTube executive, and he's able to sort things out. But if you don't have a connection, and all that work that you built is pretty much gone.
Yeah.
And that's why a bunch of people are going to Rumble. Rumble, I mean, there's a lot of major people like I'm having a blank right now.
Maybe Jordan Peterson.
Yeah,
Possibly.
Jordan.
I know
Peterson,
Steve will do it, which is not. I mean, he's not. He's more of an
Russell Brand.
Russell Brand. Yes, Russell, and I love Russell Brand
because Russell Brand, like he like censors himself on all these other platforms, and he's like advertising. If you want to get everything, go to Rumble. So every single video, he's the most active person I know, just trying to get people off these other platforms and go to Rumble. It's hard to do.
It is,
but as more and more influencers are real, like things are. I mean, even the smaller ones. Once the majority, I bet that my teacher will end up probably going to Rumble, something like that.
Well, I think it totally makes sense to like diversify your platforms. If you're a social media influencer, or if you're whatever you want to put out there, it doesn't have to do with Jake. So Jacob's looking at Rumble right now, which is what I was kind of going into, which is Rumble right now is at $6.35. It closed on Friday at $6.
What did the IPO at? I don't know if that's even necessary.
No, I think that's a good idea. Let's see. Can we
5 years all time?
No, we can do.
So it's been. When did it?
Looks like open was like $10.34. What it looks like to me.
Shoot, this looks like actually a really good buy, honestly, because right now it's at $6.
Yep. And it's spiked up to $18.52.
What year?
This is February of 2022.
Okay, so I was thinking. Okay.
Yeah, so it's not exact. You're never gonna get an exact apples to apples scenario, but I feel like Rumble is the closest thing you got. Obviously, Rumble has been public for a lot longer. They have been a thing for a lot longer.
Dude, honestly, I think Rumble's gonna be big.
Yeah, very possibly.
Because, sorry, I'm like my brain's just working because I mean, who's mainstream media right now? Podcasts.
Yeah.
And a lot of these podcasters are really
moving over to
Rumble.
Yeah.
So
it's a better name.
That is. Yeah. That's potential huge growth.
Yeah. The only thing I do think about is I don't want to ever discredit or underestimate Elon Musk with X.
Oh, I don't. I think that Elon Musk is probably stoked that Rumble exists.
No. I'm not saying he's not stoked. I'm just saying
there's
that
competition, but I think that there's plenty of room. We got X and this that are both
more freedom of speech.
Freedom of
Same
speech.
with True Social.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that I think Rumble will probably do decently well, but I feel like with social media networks, it's almost kind of like, to some extent, it's winner take all. So that's what I'm thinking about. It not necessarily, because you had Twitter, now known as X. It was kind of like a little bit of a different product than say Facebook, just slightly different product. Anyways, but so what I was looking at, comparing apples to apples, it's like in real estate, you're looking at comps, right? You're looking at properties that are similar to your property to try to figure out the value of that property. And so, what's up?
78 million monthly active users.
Right, exactly, and that's
Rumble.
Right, that's what I was getting at. So if you, the 10K annual report for True Social, or the DJT ticker symbol, the Trump Media and Technology Group. They stated that they had 9 million active users, and some people were saying that I saw online that were saying he had a lot less and 1 million active users. but let's just say around there. Let's even just go with what they said in the 10Ks, that they have 10 million active users. Even though the Trump Media and Technology Group themselves in the annual report said that they're not actually super concerned or really tracking a lot of the data that the typical social media platform would track. So then you look at the differences in the price. So right now, Trump Media and Technology Group is $32.59, and Rumble is at $6.36. Now you sit there and you think, well, price that don't really mean anything. How many outstanding shares do they have? So, and I looked that up. So Trump Media and Technology Group has roughly 136 million shares outstanding, while Rumble has about 115 million shares outstanding.
100. Say that again. How many?
So.
This is for me because I'm scheming right now because I haven't really. I've heard about Rumble quite a bit, but it literally I'm just talking about it just clicked in my mind that
It could be actually a pretty big thing.
It's like massive,
Yeah.
massive because I didn't really think about it. Because tying in podcasting to Truth Social,
Yeah.
all these where are people going to be going from YouTube? Like YouTube to freedom of speech is being an issue, and as things get more and more chaotic, hopefully they don't, but obviously that's the direction we're going towards in the United States.
Yeah.
And
there needs to be somebody in the gap to pick up that gap.
People are less trusting, and it takes a lot to move people, but we're
already seeing it.
We're already seeing it, and it's forced movement, and the more people talk about it, and they it was a wake up call for our YouTube channel's tiny, it's insignificant.
Shout out to our subscribers.
Shout out, but but if it started to get bigger or something like that, I've already had concerns because it's if we get...
You're like, because we're wild.
We're wild, yeah. Maybe we'll be more wild on Rumble.
Well, I know. Just not to totally talk about something different, but it would be... it's not something different. It dovetails in, but Rumble will be actually probably something that we should consider going on.
We already have a Rumble account. We plan on uploading it. It's more work, so that's why we have it. Right. To be honest, but definitely
something in the future to think about, and maybe we'll throw some things up there. So I've been throwing up a little bit, just so you guys know. I've been throwing up some stuff on our Hormetic Monks X account. A little bit, some short videos. It's a little bit harder to upload long form videos on there, so I'll probably stick to the shorter clips, and we'll throw those up on there. And I really like X as a platform. I hope Elon Musk transforms it into something pretty big. I already know it is big, but I'm really looking forward to the transformation and what he does with it. Going back to what we were talking about with the differences in comparing Rumble to Truth Social. So we have shares outstanding, 136 million shares outstanding for Truth Social, or the Trump Media and Technology Group, and we have about 115 million shares outstanding for. And you'll probably double check me on this, or maybe not, but I thought you were looking it up too. 115 million shares outstanding for Rumble. So if you look at that, and you look at the price of both of them, and you look at the difference between the user base. So let's just be generous and say that Truth Social actually does have 9 million active users, and I think that is actually on the generous side, because I've seen a lot of places that say it's a lot less, and the in the 10K report they're actually incentivized to kind of it's a little bit of a marketing.
Yeah.
So, but let's say it does have 9 million. That's way fewer than 75 or 77 million or whatever it was for Rumble.
Yeah.
And so they have about the same number of outstanding shares. If you look up, let's actually look up the revenue for Rumble, because I think it was something like $80 million last year. the revenue for Rumble.
Are they profitable though?
No, they're not profitable yet.
So yeah,
I don't know if it's a good long term buy and hold just yet. It could be, but they're definitely not profitable yet.
you got to think about it. I mean, so I just looked up one thing.
Yeah.
It's not very exciting.
Okay.
But with Rumble, it's saying, I think it was like, oops. Okay, here it was. So you only get like $2 for every 1,000 views with Rumble,
Okay.
and then it's like $10 to $30 per 1,000 views
With
for
YouTube?
And that makes sense. I mean,
They're smaller.
They've got 80 million. That's a lot. Or I think whatever
75, 77 million.
Yeah.
Talking in general terms.
Yeah. They've got that much, but then you think about how many views. There's YouTube videos that have 100 million views.
Right.
On a video.
Right.
So
right.
That's
that matters.
That matters a lot. So
lot.
If they need to have.
They need up that.
They need to have like 1 billion active users or something like that before it's like that that pay threshold goes up probably even to half, or not even half. It'd be not much still, even with 1 billion users, monthly users.
Yeah. Yeah, but it does matter, and I think it's obviously the amount of active users that you have on the platform can dictate how much you're charging for advertising, and that dictates how much you can actually pay your content creators. But going back to Rumble's revenue, that was 81 million in 2023. 81 million in 2023 for Rumble. Guess what? Trump's Truth Social revenue was 2023.
You told me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's 4 million.
4 million. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a fraction of the 81 million. Now, they lost 50 million, about 50 million in dollars in 2023. Trump did with Truth Social. So they're definitely not profitable. I don't think. Be interesting to see Rumble's negative profit. How much?
Yeah. So actually, I might have not been wrong with my estimates, or just my guess. So YouTube has 2.49 billion active users on average. I mean, that doesn't mean that's like. What does that mean? I wonder how is that using it once per month or multiple times a month? I wonder.
I'm not sure. Yeah, that's we'd have to.
I guess it doesn't really matter that much. We're just trying to, but yeah. So 70 million active users. That means that this would have like 200 or 20 times the amount, 25 or 70. Something like 30 times the users of Rumble.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's not exact, but
let's see.
I was just thinking about pay-wise before I would actually really draw influencers, because I mean, even if you lose your account, I mean, it's hedging your profitability to be on Rumble, but you're only going to be making like 10%, 10 to 30% of what you'd make on YouTube. So to draw in more influencers or more content creators, they really need to of how many users are on the platform before it's gonna grow big, or at least the stock would be. Yeah, before the stock price goes up really high. I mean, you can have hype and everything, but
Right.
for revenue wise, they need to up that quite a bit.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the. Let's see. Revenue, expenses, costs, of service. Just trying to find the how much they lost in 2023. Yeah, that's something interesting to know too.
it increased by 106%.
Yeah, so Rumble's revenue increased by 106% compared to 2022. So it must have been around 40 million in 2022. That's pretty cool.
Estimated for EPS of negative 22 cents. And for earnings per share of minus 14 cents. They're growing.
Yeah. But anyways, so maybe we can find that and talk about it later. But I know they both were not profitable. But so if you look at both, if you look at the monthly active users, you compare that to the shares outstanding, you compare that to the price, and you compare that the revenue. It looks like at this point in my mind, obviously this is very simplistic how we're looking at this or how I'm looking at this. But to me, True Social, Trump Media and Technology Group, should be a significantly lower price. It actually should be at a lower price than $6.36, in my opinion.
True Social.
Yeah, if you're comparing it apples to
Yeah.
apples, and the reasons is what we've already talked about. So it's at $32.59. At this point, I'm probably going to short until it goes below $20. If it does go below $20, but I think it definitely should not be at $32.59 if we're comparing it to Rumble.
Yeah.
It just makes no sense. And I think a lot of that is actually the hype surrounding
Overpriced.
Trump himself. So you have a lot of, it's kind of like an occult movement. And don't get me wrong, I'm not like anti-Trump. I'm not necessarily pro-Trump either. I'm just looking at it from an investment perspective. But you have an occult following that's following Trump, and a lot of retail investment that's actually pumping up the price. And I think it's actually somewhat of a play on the outcome of the election. And I think the thinking is if Trump wins, then his True Social company could actually gain a lot of growth and a lot more active users. Now, I guess it depends on who you think is going to win. But in the short term, I think it's still going to fall. The other problem with it, to me, in my mind, is how much Trump owns himself of the stock. So he owns, I believe, about 60% of their stock. I'll look this up here. And the other thing is, if you if you read the 10K, which I read some of it, I haven't read the whole thing, but he has a 6 months lockup period where he can't sell the shares, but after that he can. And there's also he basically has like overwhelming exclusive like voting rights. So basically, in the 10K, he can actually put something forth for the company, like an initiative for the company to do that actually goes against what the company itself thinks is good for itself, because he has majority voting rights, because he owns the majority of the shares. I don't like that. I don't think that should be. That's not something that I don't want one person to be making the decision of where the company's going to go. I'd like to have it spread across a multitude of advisors, in my opinion. Now, it depends on his judgment. He could have a really good judgment and be able to.
I disagree with that. It
Okay.
depends on who's running the company.
Well, of course, but that I think
If you're a shareholder, the problem is it gets
the key is judgment, right?
yeah.
You always want good judgment versus lack of judgment. But what in my mind as an investor, and this is me personally, is I'd rather have the judgment spread around a group of people. That way, the risk of having bad judgment is lowered because I believe the probability is lowered with a multitude of advisors.
I disagree with that. The
Okay.
reason why is because there's so many examples.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on who's in. Like you got the way that companies are run. They're incentivized to trick investors to make it look like they're more profitable than they are, and that's a scandal that happened in 2003 when people lost a lot of faith in the stock market.
Yeah.
Because they were reporting things that were not accurate, and everything looked right, but it wasn't.
Sure.
That was like an example in Warren Buffett's book. Basically,
So that's an example of bad judgment from a group of people.
and a lot of companies go the same route. I mean, you see
Agreed.
Yeti's doing the same exact thing. They got a bunch of people, but the original owner's gone. The person that actually cares and everything is gone.
Right.
I'd rather know an individual that has a majority of the share and have faith in that person because they actually care.
Mhm.
They're invested.
Mhm.
They're not. It's just not a money thing to them. They're in.
But that's provided that they actually care.
Yeah, but I think it uses a lot of like if you're trying to build something and there's a lot of things that if you care about money you're not going to do certain things. For instance,
But what if
building an electric car like Elon Musk or whatever.
Sure, but what if it's an example of someone that actually just cares about themselves? Because the
That's okay too.
No. What I'm saying is that they actually want to transfer. They want to put green company public. They want to pop the stock price, and then they want to extract all the funds.
Yes, exactly.
And that is a very real possibility, especially when
I agree.
one person has control of the whole company.
Yep. That I saw that happen first, or saw that happen with LifeVantage.
Right.
The CEO, good talker, everything came in. Everyone loved him. He had a group of people that came with him, invest in the company. That's when the stock price I think it was like over $12, I believe. And then it pumped that stock price up, and then he left. And they sold their shares and everything, left and pocketed change and drove the stock down.
Right.
And then that whole shenanigans of hostile takeover to try to come in,
Took place.
get the company outright, and then sell
off the
off
intellectual property and the
Yes.
patents and all that stuff.
which would have been a huge bummer
for all the
Huge bummer.
shareholders. Potentially.
For all the shareholders, and if you actually care about the product, which I've invested in the product, and I've seen that it's like taking a really good product
And destroying it.
destroying it and turning it into a drug, which they've already tried to do.
Yeah.
They already have a drug that doesn't work as well as the product does.
Right. So it's
That's
actually
a third-party study, and interestingly enough, this supplement increase or whatever it was, I think it might have been oxidative stress or whatever. I'm not trying to sell this product. I'm just saying this is like actually what happened. That the drug is like absurdly expensive,
right.
and then you got this other
A
product
lot cheaper
that is way cheaper.
and natural.
And
Yeah.
I don't know if it would be natural, but I mean it has natural components. But it's like the reason why they have a patent on it is because individually the products by themselves don't have the effect, but the way that they.
But what I mean is all the components of the pill are natural, so they're all naturally derived. So the whole product is natural.
It's not. There's some sciencing going on because individually, even if you take them together.
Yeah, but what I mean is,
Yeah.
none of the herbs are actually artificially
Correct. Yeah.
made.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm not saying that it's natural that you're just gonna find it out in nature. You're
Synergistically, the way that they combine it or whatever. I don't know anything about
The
sciencing, but
right. It's the whole the sum of the
process that they do to combine them into the pill form has the synergistic effect where it's like multiplied drastically.
Right. It's like you can have all the pieces of a car. You could have wheels, tire,
but it doesn't
engine,
fit.
but it's not fit together.
Yeah.
So the components are really not worth anything by themselves, but you put them together and you have a car you can drive somewhere. Essentially.
That's actually very good.
Analogy.
Yeah, I like it. Good job, dude.
Once in a great while.
I liked it. I liked it.
Once in a
It
great while.
actually helped me because, it's like having a bunch of pieces of a car that are just scrambled about, not put together.
Yep.
Got it. Yeah.
Synergy. Like coffee and creamer makes it taste better.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep trying to get it's just gonna go
Okay,
away. It's
stop.
just gonna go worse and worse and worse.
No more compliments.
Oh damn. Okay. Alright. So I was sorry. We were originally looking up we kind of went off.
Where did we go?
Yeah, I know where we're going. So, but we were looking up basically how much of Truth Social is owned by Trump himself.
You say
So
60%.
it's somewhere around there.
That's good coffee.
Oh yeah.
By the way, it looks like Rumble's hemorrhaging money. I think it's like $100-something million they lost last year.
Really? Where's that at? Because I saw only 50 million that they lost last year.
Net loss widened to 29.3 million quarter four.
That's quarter four though.
Yeah, quarter four. So
For the full year. That's Rumble, dude.
I meant Rumble. Sorry.
Rumble is hemorrhaging money.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So net loss widened to
Hundreds.
29.3 million quarter four and 116.4 million for full year. Oh yeah, that's very good that you brought that out.
Yeah.
So basically, I guess comparatively, 50 million is not bad for a loss for True Social when Rumble is lost 116.4 million. Although we do have to look at their revenue because their revenue jumped by 106%. It's up from 40 million to 80 point whatever million. So that's good. Their
I don't
revenue's
know
up.
if that's after the 8. Is that? So you got 116 million. Are they already incorporating that 80 million? So their losses are, let's say, 196 million.
No.
That
And 116.4 million for the full year. That can be taken away. That's just taken by itself.
okay, taken by itself. So their net
So-
losses would be 36.4 million. Is what you're saying?
Oh right. Yeah. If you take away the 80 in revenue.
Yeah.
No. Hang on. No, that's after. Sorry, I apologize.
So-
that is after the 80 million.
Yeah. So they lost 116.4 million.
Yeah.
So, yeah, interesting. I wonder what.
Wait, what did you say? They lost how much?
Net loss widened to 29.3 million quarter four and 116.4 million for the full year.
So they're basically what they're saying there is 116.4 million. That's what they lost. So after they subtracted the 80 million in revenue, they lost 116.4 million.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, that's correct.
That's correct.
That's right. Yeah, I was trying to figure out what we were trying to get on the same page here.
That's not good.
No, it's bad. It's bad. You don't want to
I
lose
don't-
that much money, but you do have like things like Uber. Uber's been losing. I don't even think Uber's still profitable.
No.
So you can do that's sustainable for a long period of time. They're essentially trying to take market share.
Yeah, that's probably all advertisements and everything. Like I know that. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of. I wonder if they're, because if they're losing that much money, so that much money, a lot of that's probably going to pay for content creators and everything, trying to get people onto the
Right.
platform,
Right.
and they're trying to get more advertisers to advertise on Rumble, but advertisers aren't very attracted to that yet because it's not big enough. So they gotta really push out their advertising, really push to get all these advertisers to get people to, all these content creators to get other people from YouTube and all these other places to Rumble. And it's hard because, do I use Rumble? Not really.
Right.
And the thing is it kind of reminds me of like Bitcoin, where, like, yeah, I was using Bitcoin, but like,
to use it in your everyday life.
Yeah,
that's a good analogy.
Well, to use it in your everyday life, but like, once you start to see like the 30 or 40-year-olds like starting to use it,
right?
Or, well, I mean, younger people too. It's kind of like Warren Buffett, like the way I don't know if it was Warren Buffett. It might have been one of the people he worked with, but they would just have conversations with people and just throw out like a name of a company or something if they've heard of it, and like kind of just get an analysis of how many people actually know about it. And that's kind of the way,
right?
If you can catch a trend before it happens, like how many advertisements.
We're at the Queen's Neighborhood Grill in Limerick, New York.
Let me get rid of this.
Yeah. But, wonderful.
I hope you guys enjoyed that.
We do not support this advertisement.
No, but I do totally agree with you. Well, that's why it was funny, because I was like, I think it was my brother, I was talking to him, and I was like talking to him about Truth Social. And he's like, Truth what? And I'm like, Truth Social. He's like, what's that? Yeah. I'm like, right, you've never heard of it, right? And the only reason why you would have heard of it is in connection with Trump. And even if you heard about it, you're not on it.
Yeah.
So then it's like, I've heard of Rumble. And that's because of all these people are like Russell Brand are pointing to Rumble. Who's pointing to Truth Social?
Yeah.
What major YouTube star is pointing to Truth Social? Nobody, I don't think.
Yeah.
Maybe Kanye West. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I know that they had like they were buddies for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I did find out how much Trump owns. Exactly 58% of the shares.
Okay.
So 58% of the shares Trump owns himself, and he's subject to a 6 months lockup period where he can't sell those shares. But he can still borrow against those shares. So he can still use it to pay his legal fees.
Like an IRA.
Kind of, yep. Yeah, exactly. Because you can borrow against your
money.
stocks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. I need to do that. Honestly, I've been resistant towards like having an IRA, but
Roth. Get a Roth IRA.
Get a Roth, but it's like, here's the thing. If you're saving it makes so much sense. So if you got your money in a Roth IRA, stocks or whatever, and you need money, instead of selling your stock, like if you can't sell your stocks, right? Or you can, but you'll get taxed very heavily on it. Instead of not having a Roth IRA, you've got to stop your own, like your Robinhood account, whatever. You run into financial issues. You can't borrow against your stocks. You got to sell them, right? And then you got to pay the taxes on that, all that stuff. Instead of doing that, have a Roth IRA. You're holding it for long term. You need a loan. You don't want to sell your stocks. You get a loan from the money that you have already in that, and you don't pay any interest on it. Or do you pay interest on it?
You actually
pay interest
to yourself. You pay interest to yourself, yeah.
So it's kind of like an awesome thing. I haven't liked it because I'm like, I like being able to have money, cash on hand, ready to go. But the thing is, you kind of do. You kind of do already. And how much, like, it's not as painful paying interest to yourself.
Yep.
Makes sense.
It does. I mean, that's something that I was listening to Andrew Schultz the other day with at his Flagrant 2 podcast, and he was talking about how I think he heard about Jay-Z and Beyonce buying like a ridiculously $100 million house, and they paid cash. He was like, okay, you're wealthy, but how do you have that much money to pay in cash, you know? And then he's like, oh, I get it. They're not. They're actually, what they're doing is they're borrowing against their assets, taking out a loan, getting that loan in cash, then going and buying the property, and then on the news it says they bought it in cash. Then once they own it for a while, they then put a mortgage on it. But they can still go in with a cash offer. Yeah, right? Wow. then they can still go in with a cash offer.
Mm-hmm.
And so they immediately beat out anybody that's coming up with financing because they're like, we have cash ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
They get to do that, and then they get to mortgage their house privately with an extremely favorable mortgage because they already own the house outright. And then they get to go and pay back the loan that they originally got, and it's really just interest that they owe to themselves. So they really just pay a little in interest to themselves.
Yeah, and then later on, I want another big house. This one looks fancy, and then
There you go. There you go.
that's money building. It's really about keeping the wealth inside, and it's like it's hard to do. It's because you need. I mean, I know because I've like man, if I would have opened up a Roth IRA and just been able to like if I would have gone that route. I sold this money, or sold these stocks at a loss a couple times, or crypto a couple times when I'm like, I wasn't really taking it seriously. I was just like putting it in there, and then oh crap, I need money because I'm like I've jumped around quite a bit in my life, and then I sell that and I'm at a loss. So I would have been probably better off just not even. Like in trying to invest, instead of doing that, I could have like had a Roth IRA, borrowed against it, and then paid that back. And then right now, I could have, if I would have done that with like Bitcoin or something, I'd have probably a couple $100,000 in the bank right now.
Yeah.
If I would have, I don't think you could trade Bitcoin on a Roth though. But
right at that point in time,
you know, like that's kind of an example.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, I think that's a good example. I mean, I have a Roth. I wish. I mean, I don't know. I think Roth is the only way to go. 401ks, I think they suck.
yeah.
Regular IRAs, I think they suck. So and then Roth is the best one. And the way that you can look at it is like, do you think that you're going to be paying more in taxes now or later? Taxes usually just go up.
Yeah.
So you're probably going to pay more in taxes. Do you think your income is going to be higher or less than now when you're older? Should be higher if you're growing.
Hopefully.
So then you're actually going to be in a higher tax bracket. Then when you sell your stocks, you're actually going to be paying more in taxes with the 401k. And then also you're going to be with 401k, you're taxed on your principal because you weren't taxed in the beginning, and you're taxed on your growth. So all that growth that you got through all those years is also taxed. Roth IRA, you're taxed right away. Because you got taxed from your job, because you're putting post-tax dollars, meaning after you pay taxes, you're putting post-tax dollars into the Roth IRA, but once it's in there, it grows tax-free. And then when you're, 59 and a half, 62, I forget what the retirement age is, you get to pull it out. You don't pay any on your principal because you already paid taxes on your principal. You don't pay any on the growth. And it doesn't really matter what tax bracket you're in at that point. It doesn't really matter what taxes are at that point. You already paid for it all. You're good.
Jeez.
It's huge. But you know what's funny?
401ks are pretty much a scam for the government.
They are. And you know what's crazy?
Just like gambling.
And you know what's crazy?
Or lottery.
Is that the 401ks, right? That you get at your, it's funny because how many companies offer Roth IRAs? Some, but not too many actually. They're always pushing the 401ks. Every company that I've been at, they don't even have a Roth IRA.
Yeah.
They just push the 401ks. The other interesting thing is that basically they're pushing the 401ks, and then I don't know if you've ever messed around with the 401k through your work, but you're only allowed to go into certain funds. Like you're only allowed to buy into certain mutual funds.
Probably index or what?
A lot of it is like target date funds, actively managed. They're horrible. So they're taking a big fee, and guess who is actually. Like, why do they provide you with, like, say, 10 of these mutual funds? Why is it those 10 and not some other 10? The mutual funds actually end up paying the company to actually get on their 401k. So they're advertising to you, and they're using some of the fees that you paid them, that everybody else has paid them, to then advertise to the companies to get you in their fund. It's a complete scam.
Yeah.
So, that's why anytime I do invest in 401ks, I invest in 401ks. Oh, you're good. Oh, can you get some for me too, Jim?
Hey, yeah.
Appreciate
Oat
it.
milk.
That's right. Oat milk creamer is the way to go. Anyways, so yeah, I think if you guys have 401ks, you should really look into that. I mean, obviously do your own research, but like I have never been a fan of 401ks ever. Anyways, so kind of going back to this Trump Media and Technology Group, that's kind of the reason why I've been shorting it. I don't know, my thesis on it is very simplistic, but we'll see how it works for me over the next couple weeks. I have a 22 day option on it, put option. So we'll see how that goes for me. I think that there's definitely probably flaws in my thought process. I mean, I didn't even know that Rumble had lost that much money last year. But no, I knew True Social lost 50 million, but I didn't know that Rumble had lost over 100 million.
Yeah.
So that changes some things, but at the same time, I just think at the core of it, I think network the network effect of different social media companies is so strong. I mean, we have so many people on Facebook that they complain about Facebook, but yet they're still on
They
Facebook.
don't leave because everyone's on there.
Because everyone's on there. That is so powerful. Network effect is so powerful, and I think it's just going to be so hard because essentially I don't even see Truth Social as really a competitor, not just in size to Facebook, but also they're not even the same product really. They're Rumble and X and True Social are all about the same product, in my opinion, because they're all promoting free speech, non-censorship platforms. Whereas Facebook, we know that we don't know, but it seems like from reports we've heard is that, or at least the reports that I've heard, that there is a lot of censorship going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Instagram. And I think there's definitely a need in the market for a no censorship platform, and I think that's what X is trying to fill. I think that's what Rumble is trying to fill. I think that's what True Social is trying to fill. But unfortunately, I think for True Social, I think it's just way too behind the eight ball. I think it started way too late.
Yeah, I don't know. Something that comes to my mind is I think people do value freedom of speech, but I don't think that. I think that this is the main struggle. Is people hear about it, they see it, but it doesn't directly affect them.
Right.
That's why it's like that's why they have so much power, is because there's not enough people that can. It's not like they don't care; they care, but it's like it's not directly affecting them right away.
Right. Especially if you're not a creator.
Yeah,
If you're just a consumer, then it's not going to affect you as much.
Yeah,
because you're not even going to know about the content that you missed because it was censored.
Yeah,
you're not even going to know it was a thing.
So yeah, the people that actually care about this stuff, like it's a minority, and I think the minority is on X and the minority is on Rumble, and for it to get mass leaving, I think that there needs to almost be like a major event that happens. Even though we've had many major events, that's why these platforms already exist and why they're getting a lot of attention. But like, I know my parents don't use it, my brother doesn't use it, my whole family doesn't use it. So it does, like, I know that's not necessarily you can't base it off of that, but like I talk to a lot of people, and not a lot, but it's like the people that I know, a lot of people don't use it. Pretty much.
Use what?
Use X and Rumble.
No, but I think so. I mean, but a lot of like intellectuals use X though. I feel like
a lot of intellectuals and a lot of, I would say, almost like adults, the real adults use it.
Yeah.
But and a lot of like morons, but
a lot of shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
A lot of shit talking and shit posting.
So it's pretty much like the war zone. On X, like it's kind of overwhelming because it's like, in like a movie theme, you've got the protagonist and you've got the person that's right.
Mhm.
It gets confusing because when you listen to like a bunch of different people talk, um, and you start to hear disagreements and stuff, and then you realize like I actually don't know who's right.
Right.
And like that's the weird, like it's not weird, but it's like you have your own bias,
Mm-hmm.
and the people that I look to be right, after listening to so many different podcasts and like seeing what they say,
Yeah.
you start to have to question things. You have to like question, even if you think someone's like completely right or whatever.
You really have to question and critique their ideology and kind of come up with your own ideology.
Yeah.
I think it really it parallels, if you think about it, it parallels investing.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's the price, right? So Rumble $6 and whatever, 36 cents, something like that. You have Truth Social that is $32 roughly right now, a share, and you have to sit there and think, are all these people right?
Mm-hmm.
Or in a month time is Truth Social gonna tumble?
Well, how many people think that their religion is the truth? The religion that they believe in. How many religions think that their religion is
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just
There's a
because
lot of
you
parallels.
believe in your I'm sorry to say, but it's like just because you believe in your religion doesn't mean. I mean, I think it's true in a sense, but
Yeah.
it's got usually it's. We don't need to go too far deep into
Well,
it.
it
It's a
does
good
all
example.
parallel because it's like critiquing and criticizing not only your religious beliefs, your investment thesis, how you value companies, but also like just your different thoughts and ideologies in everyday life. And I think it's what is it? Is it Charlie Munger who says you're what is it? Lemming? You're a lemming?
You're a lemming, yeah.
Yeah, you're a lemming. Basically, it's just you follow everybody off the cliff. Or in other words, it would be like you're a sheep.
Yep.
You're following the crowd.
I think the reason why they picked the lemming is because humans are like one of the only other species that do the same thing as lemmings.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, except for like buffalo or whatever, they'll just stampede and follow all the other
Off the cliff if they're scared.
If they're scared, yeah.
Or I suppose if you want. This is a horrible example, but I want to say it anyways because I think it's funny.
Go for it.
Or if you want a religious example, all the pigs that went off the cliff when they were inhabited or possessed by the evil spirits or
Possessed by the demons.
demons, the devils. Yeah. So don't be a pig that's possessed by demons. Don't be a pig that's been possessed by demons. That's the biggest takeaway here, guys.
Yeah.
No, but it will. Yeah,
I want to hammer this nail one more time.
Yeah, hit it one more time.
One more time this is an example that happened. We talked about this the other week, and it forced me to think.
Oh, okay. The episode 18 last week.
No, I don't. No, we were just talking on the phone.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of woke up that I'm potentially just in a cycle of a circular cycle of listening to on X, for instance. A lot of people I follow kind of have similar beliefs that I kind of accept in a sense, or I agree with them on a lot of things. Or I've gotten hyped up on, let's say, like the leftist versus the rightist type of thing. I kind of navigated towards agreeing with certain things, but that's not the point. And it's whether or not one side is right or not. That's not not my point. The point is like I felt myself getting engaged, or getting infuriated, or by certain things. By some of these more conservative sides, let's say, basically hardcore leftist things like men going into women's bathrooms and all that, and like there's outrage, a lot of outrage. You'll have these examples just like coming in, and that's there's the situation of there's always going to be crazy things. There's always going to be crazy people, and those are the things that go viral or whatever. But if you go on these platforms, it seems like the whole world is like that.
Right.
And
It's just a rare example, really.
I mean, there are some real cases where this is like,
Sure.
I think Planet Fitness for one is like, they're saying men can go and use the women's dress facilities and stuff like that,
Right.
like as like a policy, which is I think is messed up. I mean, if you know a guy, a biological guy, and then a messed up one, like, yeah, anyways, not good.
Yeah.
So, but I was actually listening to Mark Cuban on Lex Friedman, and I've had my issues like just not understanding him or disagreeing with him, and I've heard like stuff called out to him, like Jordan Peterson said something about Mark Cuban, and I thought that was interesting, but I kind of had this resistance to even wanting to listen to the podcast, but I kind of did because it's Lex Friedman, which is awesome. Lex Friedman is
he's
polarizing people on,
Yeah.
and people get angry at him
Yeah.
because they're bringing these people on that their ideals or whatever.
I remember when he had Kanye on,
Yeah,
and everybody was just
flipping out.
furious because he was platforming Kanye.
Yeah, but the thing is like
It makes
I
sense.
was listening to Mark Cuban talk about things like the way that he even the way that he became very, very successful, and the way that he was talking, like he's like, I completely agree, like I not agree. He's like, I think there was a lot of luck. Yes, there was a ton of hard work, but there was a luck to me becoming a billionaire because I caught a trend at the right time.
Right time, the internet, and all that broadcasting. And,
yeah. So he was very rational and everything. The way that he was talking, very rational, and he had a different way of thinking.
different
That
ways
was
in the world.
very, very interesting.
Yeah.
And he's like, the problem with the whole like workplace conditions and everything becoming like really woke or whatever. He's like, I asked a bunch of these, like he said he talked to a bunch of CEOs and stuff, and he's like, so I see that you changed your policy for this or whatever, and they're like, yeah, because these people are saying all these things. I'm like, did someone tell you have to do this? No. So I think it's two things. It's basically like a mass mental contagion in a sense. Not a contagion. It's a mass. There's an event that happens with human beings where there can be mass confusion, and they all psychologically are thinking the same thing and think it's something way bigger than it really is, and then it actually can turn into a big thing. But the way that it's portrayed on the right side of the group is like they're rabid, like these things are coming into the feeds and everything, and it's really horrible stuff, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But it's like self-feeding on itself, and it's they're thinking that these people are this, but they're not actually that. And he was pointing that out pretty much, like it's basically
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
self-fulfilling prophecy, and basically it's in its own echo chamber. These things are real. There are stuff, and it is important. I think there are some concerns personally, but if you go on the left side, they not all the percentage of people that are actually as crazy as this side is way smaller than the way that it's portrayed. The left is this, and I mean I know someone on Facebook, for instance, I disagree with a lot of what they're saying. Like, for instance, throwing out religion and all that. Like, religion is the root of all of the world's problems, which I agree and strongly disagree.
Sure.
Because without religion, without democracy and religion, the United States, the way it is, wouldn't have formed.
Right.
Uh,
Well, so
I'm went off topic a little bit.
no, it's all good. I think so. Like, because I think I did listen to that podcast with Lex Friedman and Mark Cuban too. I think if I remember right, I think it's the same podcast. But yeah, like essentially what you're saying is like
I was trapped in an echo chamber in a sense, hearing things and getting more fearful and everything because bad news spreads faster than good news.
Right, negativity and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like you have all these people that are calling an anthill or a molehill a mountain.
Yeah.
And it's really is it a molehill? Is it a mountain? And that's what's so hard is that if you listen to one type of thinker or one type of person or character person that's on one side of the ideology of an ideology, then you could start thinking that all these things out here that are maybe they're not molehills, but they're maybe not mountains either. Maybe they're somewhere in between. Yeah. And but they're sitting there and they're kind of raising the fury of the populace and saying, look at this molehill. That's a mountain. That's a mountain. That's a mountain. And you start going, yeah, it's a mountain. It's a mountain. It's a mountain. And then you listen to the other side, and you're like, maybe it's not a mountain. Maybe it's a little bit bigger than a molehill.
Yeah.
But and I think that is. I mean, it goes right into what we were talking about earlier, which is like being self-critical. And I think we even talked about this last week with episode 18. Is like kind of checking yourself, being self-critical, having self-awareness, being critical of ideologies, being critical of investments, like what we're talking about this week, and actually coming up with your own ideology and your own lens to which you see through things, and picking out details and data and deciding for yourself what is right, not just listening to the left or just listening to the right, or just listening to Warren Buffett, or just listening to Michael Saylor, who's pro-Bitcoin, and Warren Buffett, who's anti-Bitcoin. It's like you almost need to listen to everybody and just pick and choose what you believe. And I think like Warren Buffett, brilliant guy. I think Michael Saylor is a brilliant guy. MicroStrategy, he's the founder and CEO of MicroStrategy. And I think they're both brilliant people. And I think you have two brilliant people or that are on the opposite sides of one single topic, and you just have to go issue by issue or topic by topic and figure out what you believe yourself. And I think that's where you're finding yourself in, is you're finding yourself by listening to the opposite side, a smart guy, Mark Cuban, on the opposite side of maybe some of your ideologies or some of the things that you believe in, and you actually were able to see life and ideas through his way of thinking. You're like, oh, he actually has some points. Oh, he actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And maybe it's actually the world is like a mix of Lex Friedman and Mark Cuban. Because I think Lex Friedman was on the opposite side of some of the things Mark Cuban was saying, especially with like DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. He was kind of pushing back on it a little bit. And I think Lex had some good points. I think Mark Cuban had some really good points. And I think I think Lex is genuinely curious, and I do see where people are like trying to like, we don't push back hard enough. But I don't know the DEI. I saw that trending. I don't even know what it means. That's really the most in depth I've heard of it. Yeah. And I think what Mark Cuban was saying is like, I'm incorporating it in my companies, but I'm not saying other companies should do it. Right. Right. Like, I think I agree with it, but he's not forcing that ideology or whatever it is on other people. He's just incorporating it in his company, and that's his right to do so. Right. But the thing is like, I get where people are scared of like having forcing it in other companies, which I don't even know enough to talk about it. I'm kind of getting the concept of it now, and it's basically blown up really far on one side. In reality, it's maybe more of what Mark Cuban was saying. Yeah, and then you got the extreme left side people that are like
trying to. There are people that just like this power for the sake of power, and it's on the right and it's the left, and you hear the battle cries happening on the right when the left does this thing, and then the left has battle cry when the right does the other thing, and you got this minority, the squeaky wheels get the grease, all the attention goes to these extreme sides.
Right.
When everyone else is just kind of like chill.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's like I think well, and I just wanted to say here too that like I know for myself, and I think it's the same with Jacob. We don't have any problem with people on the right or the left.
No.
And I think I align. I don't know about you, but I align with some of the ideas on the left, and I align with some of the ideas on the right. And I really, it's like I feel like I'm kind of like they say America's a melting pot, and I don't want to like put myself on that level and kind of like glorify myself, but I feel like I'm a melting pot of ideas.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way people should strive to be, is not to be one way or the other. The other thing I wanted to, so we love everybody, no matter your, just no matter your race, your ideology, your religion, your gender. We love everybody. At least I do, and I think you do as well. So if anybody's listening to this, we're not trying to push one way or another. We're actually, I think, and I'm going to continue to try to, I think, speak for you, because I think you would agree with everything I'm saying, which is that, like, we are hope to be, I think, and we look up to people like Lex Friedman and Joe Rogan, which we seem to be just generally curious and want to explore ideas, and we're not against anybody, and we just love ideas and the kind of, to try to get at the truth, whatever the truth is, And I'm sure we both have a lot of blind sides and not really, we're probably not clear on everything, but we're hoping to always get better on that, whether it's with investments or politics or whatever. Go.
It's kind of I've had a deep thought, but we can move on to something.
Okay.
We can move on.
Well, I did want to say too, I think, to kind of push back a little bit on Mark Cuban's ideas. Not that I should.
I didn't agree with a lot of everything he was saying either. There was like points in my mind where I was disagreeing, but it was he had a solid point.
Yeah, I think he had some solid points. I think to kind of give the opposite perspective, which I think Lex did a little bit, but I think it would have been good to bring this out, which is that, like, if you say, like, Mark Cuban's thing was with DEI was, hey, I'm implementing it in my company, but no one's forcing you to implement it in your company. The problem starts to, it gets a little bit more muddy when you look at things like BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. If you look up those hedge funds,
they control all the other ones,
and you realize that they own pretty much like 80% of the S&P 500, the top 500 companies in America. And then you realize that they can actually kind of decide the fate of your company by either promoting or tanking your stock, investing or divesting from your stock, and
taking off the list of the easy peasy money that the 401k people are.
Exactly, because all the wealth that BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, the majority of their wealth is coming from people like you and me. Just regular everyday Joes, and it's all in 401ks, and the 401ks are all controlled by mutual funds, and these mutual funds are Vanguard,
basically just like a feudal system if you think about it.
Kind of.
Oh, man.
So then when you have somebody when you have corporations like that are pushing a particular ideology, like DEI or ESG, which is environmental, social, and governance score. It's like you're free to do whatever you want, but
you're not.
But at the same time, it's kind of like if I put a gun to your head and I say, "Hey, you're free to do whatever you want, but give me your wallet." It's like you are still free, but are you really?
No, not when
it's
not when you have when people have their livelihoods and everything on stake. And it's like, imagine being in a position where you're in a corporation, a big corporation, you're one of many people.
Right.
So that, by the way, that's like the reason why I said like if someone has a leading share of the company, they have power, right?
Right.
There has been good kings,
And bad kings.
and the majority haven't been. I think the majority have been bad kings. I'd say,
Probably.
but there's once in a while where there's a good king that actually transforms a whole country.
Right.
And they have power. The problem is once that one dies and their spoiled brat son comes along,
Right, then we're
that-
really messed over.
which so there is that, but the thing is like fine. I think I like in my idea in the stock market is try to find those kings, the good kings.
Yeah, fair.
I mean, and when you have a group think type of thing, when you to actually influence a decision, like democracy is messy as heck. Like you look at, like you all know like the famous portrayals of democracy in like 300 or whatever. You got this hall of people and they're all arguing and all the decisions. It's like just so painful to watch because like they end up making the wrong decision almost every time. Or like a decision that's not even that beneficial. If you look at, look at how many laws there are in the United States and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, that's, I guess, going towards stocks. That's why I have a problem with a lot of these boards because efficiency is not there. Unless you have really strong leadership and a good ideology, that's not cluttered with all the junk. That's why all these big companies, they get to a certain point and then they stagnate.
Yeah.
They just live off of the previous success and then that's it.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I think so. The key I think is not necessarily whether it's a king or whether it's a group of, I guess you'd call it like an oligarchy, which would be like led by the wealthy or led by the few, or a democracy. It's just whether they're good or bad.
And typically, if you look at history and you look at everything, most of the oligarchies, most of the kings are bad.
And most of the democracies
They're not.
are uneducated.
All right. Yeah. Basically,
Most of the time, it's actually bad.
Diamond in the rough.
Right.
So it's like.
But if you look at America though, America was actually like that's why it was like we didn't have a king, we had a president, which you could say would be like a king, but
they had
not
good-
near the amount of power.
They had good ideologies.
They had good ideologies, but if you look at it, you have the judicial branch, you have the legislative branch, you have the executive branch, and these are all like they're all dovetailing into like counterbalance each other. And so it's less likely that any one person's bad idea can take over.
But it's just like.
But it really does come down to good judgment or bad judgment.
It's like an options trade.
Okay.
It's got theta on it.
Theta?
Theta. Or theta?
Theta.
Theta.
Theta
Yeah.
with a T.
Yeah, theta.
Yeah.
So it's like how
Decreasing.
much is the theta on the United States? Look
Right.
at how like all the laws and everything. After a while, it just gets crappier and crappier and crappier and crappier and more confusing. You need to have like a whole bunch of like you look at the papers and everything. Like for a new law or documents or the spending plans, it's like a mile high.
Yep.
The complication of everything. That's why we're slow moving. That's why China's kicking our butt with we were like I don't even know how many decades we were ahead of them technology wise. They just come in and steal it. But the advantage that they have it doesn't mean it's good. Just because they have it doesn't mean that they're better. It just means that they're. You just have to look at the facts, and the facts are they just steal all this information,
Intellectual
catch up,
property
and they control everything, so they can easily just go. They're able to make decisions quicker and be more ruthless because
I think there's
we have counter power protective mechanisms in the United States that protects the people.
right.
They don't.
Right.
But they're able to take on more power and become more powerful because of that.
Right.
And
And there's actually pros and cons to both, as
Yeah.
far as economically.
Yeah.
But I would always rather be in a country that is free.
Heck yeah.
It might be better for who cares if you are able to gain power quickly or actually move on decisions quickly or not
Mm-hmm.
if the people are not free.
Yeah.
Because a country's not even really a thing. It's made up of parts, atoms, people.
Yeah.
And those people, if they're not happy, that's not cool. I do think that there's a lot of there's probably a lot of good things about China.
Mm.
And there's probably a lot of good things. I think there's good things about every country, but it's just that we need to really criticize not the country as a whole, but the bad policies.
Mm.
Because I think China definitely has a lot of bad policies,
Yeah.
and maybe you could even say the whole governmental structure is not the best, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, it would suck to be an individual node in that country.
I agree.
So,
And you can talk to Jack Ma about that.
Yeah. So there's a lot. I mean, yeah. Anyways.
But yeah, so I think you ready to wrap up? Okay, so yeah, I guess that'll be our podcast this week. That'll kind of sum it up. I'll report back on how my option play goes throughout the next coming weeks. Maybe I'll get crushed. I'll let you guys know, but we'll see. It's an adventure, and I think it'll be fun to keep checking back on it, and I'll try to educate myself a little bit more about Trump's company.
Just remember GameStop. Just because just because there's no value in something
doesn't mean it can't go up.
Doesn't mean that you got the Wall Street bad guys coming and pumping it up and melting the big hedge funds.
It's true,
awesome.
which I thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah.
Or another way to say that is like the market can stay irrational longer than you can stay liquid.
Yeah.
Which means like longer than you can actually have money and cover your losses. So you may be right, but are you right on this time frame?
Yeah.
And that's the key, and I think that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
It's hard enough to determine if you're right or not, because by the very nature of the thing is you have to be against the majority of people.
Mm-hmm.
So at $32, if I say the stock's going to go down to 20, I'm right now against the majority of people. I'm contrarian.
Mm-hmm.
So that's hard enough. And then it's over what timetable?
Yeah.
That's even harder. Combine both, and that's why it's so hard to be an option trader.
Yeah.
So, which is probably why I'll lose money.
It's fine though.
But yeah, it's fun, and we'll check in, and we'll probably I'll probably talk about another stock next week, as long as maybe following up on this one. So.
Heck yeah.
All right.
Hope you guys have a great week.
Peace.
Have a good one.